In the video you're about to watch, Katie and I are going to make a statement, and as I was watching it before I posted it, I felt like I should provide a little bit of clarification so I could be as clear and as helpful as possible. We say in the video that you can't find the answer to every single question that you have in the Bible. What we mean by that is you're not going to find the answer to what college you go to, what major you follow, who you marry, questions like that. What you are going to find in the Bible is the answer to the most important question and the most important questions. The biggest one being, how do you have a relationship with God? Through a relationship with God, you are going to be able to find the answers to everything you need for life and for godliness. That's what it says in 2 Peter chapter 1. Hope this video is helpful for you. Happy Bible reading.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching these videos. My name is Brian. I'm one of the pastors at Calvary Chapel Melbourne, and I'm here with my wife, Katie.
Hello.
Today what we thought we'd do is record a few videos to talk about how to read the Bible. A lot of people, when they start their journey of following Jesus, they want to read the Bible, but they're not exactly sure how. And so what we thought we'd do is just share a little bit about how we've learned how to read the Bible, and hopefully it's helpful to you. And in part one of this video series, what we want to do is we want to talk about 3 excuses that we've heard people use and that we've used ourselves for why we don't read the Bible. So Katie, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Awesome. All right, so excuse number 1 that we've heard and maybe that we've used for why we don't read the Bible is this: the Bible is boring.
Right.
Katie, have you ever thought this?
Absolutely. Yes. And I think it's normal to feel like this sometimes, especially when we have our Bible reading plan and we start out in January and we're checking all the boxes, and Genesis and Exodus are really exciting, and then we get to Leviticus, and then halfway through Leviticus we're reading about ceremonial law and we're like, this is super boring. This is the worst, and why do I need to be doing this? So yeah, I've definitely felt that way before.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, I've been there before where, you wake up early and you're reading and you're just rereading the same passage over and over again.
Right.
And so there are those times when it's feeling like, why am I doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think a great way to address this issue or this excuse is this: that the Bible is God revealing truth. It's not for our entertainment.
Yeah.
The Bible is God revealing truth. It's not for our entertainment. In 2 Timothy chapter 3, Paul is writing, and he says, all scripture is breathed out by God, and it's useful for teaching and for correcting and for training in righteousness. Mm-hmm. So how does thinking about the Bible as not entertainment, but actually as God revealing truth, how does that help you with this excuse?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely helps a lot. I think in our culture, we're used to being entertained, and so it can be very easy to approach the Bible with that mentality. But just understanding that the purpose of the Bible is to reveal who God is and his character. And when you approach it that way, you'll see that there's so much in the Bible that shows us about God and his love for his people and the way he pursues us. And it is very exciting. So when you come into it with that perspective, I think you'll be much more successful.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's not to say that nothing in the Bible is exciting, but when we approach it with that expectation, we're going to grow in joy reading the Bible instead of kind of being disappointed.
Absolutely. Yep.
Awesome. So the second question, or the second excuse that we've heard people use before, is this: the Bible is not relevant.
Yeah.
So what have you thought about or experienced with this excuse?
Yeah, so I can remember one specific time in college where I was just really struggling with something. I was really going through a hard time, and I went to the Bible and was like, God, tell me what to do. And I'm reading through, this book, and I'm learning about these things that, culturally were going on thousands of years ago, and different things that really don't pertain to us now in the 21st century. And so it was just really frustrating, and I really felt like, why is this relevant to me? It's not helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, I think we've all been there before. These stories are written 4,000, 3,000, 2,000 years ago. Yeah. And so there can be those times where something pops into our mind and is like, why do I need to read this right now?
Absolutely, yeah.
So I think a great way to address this, and one way we found to address this, is to think about it this way: that the Bible is not a self-help book. The Bible is a relationship book. It's not a self-help book. It's a relationship book. John chapter 20 writes sort of the thesis statement for the book of John. but I think it can actually be the thesis statement for the whole Bible. And it says that these things were written so that you may know Jesus. And so the Bible was written so that we can know God, so that we can know Jesus, so that we can walk with him. So how does that help you as you think about the idea of the Bible being relevant?
Yeah, I think it definitely helps. I think, we do sometimes approach it with a very specific problem and we're looking for a specific answer. And a lot of times we're not going to find a specific answer to our specific problem, chapter and verse. But if we go into it and we say, we want to glean wisdom, we want to know who God is, I want to see how God has protected his people and been faithful to his people in the past, it can be extremely encouraging, and we can apply that same wisdom and we can apply the knowledge of God's character to our situations, which is extremely helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really believe that the greatest issue for all of us is knowing God and walking with God. And so as we learn that, it's going to help us in every single area of life. And we should say there are tons of practical wisdom in the Bible.
So much.
So we're going to be able to glean certain things from the Bible, but there's also going to be things that as we walk with God, we're going to learn the wisdom from along the way.
Right.
Awesome. The last excuse we've heard, and it's a big one, is this: the Bible is not trustworthy. And maybe we've heard a professor in college, or we've seen someone in the news kind of critique the Bible, and we've had that thought in the back of our heads, like, is the Bible trustworthy? And maybe we're a little too afraid to dive into it, so we just kind of push it to the back.
Yeah.
And this is actually such an important issue that we want to throw it to another video and talk at length about it in another video, but kind of so we don't have a cliffhanger, is the Bible trustworthy?
For sure. The Bible is 100% trustworthy. And I think this is something that we hear a lot is, oh, you can't really believe it. But we actually do have evidence and reason to believe that the Bible is trustworthy and we can rely on it for our lives.
Awesome. So we're going to talk at length about this in the next video. So head over to part 2 to check this out. But for now, thank you for listening. We hope that this has helped you with some of the excuses that maybe you've used about the Bible. Happy Bible reading. We'll see you in part 2. Hey everybody, it's Brian. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful to you. If it was helpful, would love it if you could share it with someone on your social media or send a text to someone that you think could be helped out by this video. Also, if you want to subscribe or follow any of the channels like my social media, the Harbor social media, Calvary Chapel social media, feel free to do that for more of this content. We will see you for part 2 of the video, which is the Bible trustworthy?